Welcome to the ISB show. I'm here with Rahi and Roy. My name is Sahil. Last match day of the group round of the ASEAN Championship. Boys, we have to start off with the team we've always been starting off with, Indonesia, and a lot to talk about. You don't always win, but in this particular case, they do not get through. A stunning home defeat to the Philippines. A lot to talk about this match, boys. Was there controversy in this match, guys? Was there controversy? Was there not? Let's start there.
I mean, that's like asking, is Roy an Indonesia fan? Of course there's controversy. This game was full of controversy. But before we get there, because I'm going to get there in a second, Roy, I do want to say this. Indonesia did not perform well in this tournament. It wasn't what we expected from Marcelino. It wasn't what we expected from Struijk, Ferrari. The team didn't perform the way we had hoped. Luck was also not on their side, but there was controversy, Roy. And I'm going to get in that to the second, but I will let you go first, and then I will tell you what I really feel, because I'm ready to go.
Wow. You're hyped up, my friend. I'm feeling a bit down in the dumps. I did not expect this result. I did not expect Indonesia to lose at home against the Philippines. It is a decent Philippine side that has pretty much their A team, but it was so heartbreaking to see the way the team lost. They lost due to two. Well, this is where the controversy part comes in. For me, it was a red card. For me, if you throw an elbow.
Let's start there. Okay, so of course what we're referring to is Mohamed Ferrari getting the red card, the captain of Indonesia getting the red card, which completely changed the match. Roy, was it a red card or not?
I think he threw the elbow. I didn't watch the replay 20, 30 times to see if there was contact made. But if you're falling on the ground, you have a player hovering over you, it was clearly a foul. And you do this motion, if there's any sort of contact, even I've seen it be given if there's no contact. If it gets close enough to the player's face, it's given a red card. So for me, we can argue all day and all night that, maybe there was no contact. Maybe there was. The fact of the matter is Ferrari threw an elbow. He shouldn't have thrown an elbow. That was a decision that he made, and it shouldn't have been made. And that is very, very disappointing.
Rahi, do you agree with him? Was it a red card?
I didn't realize that the Filipino acting community was so skilled and talented. Really, we should be seeing more Filipino films make it into the Oscars, because that was an Oscar-worthy performance by the man he elbowed. I mean, to be honest, there was an elbow. His head was low. But Roy, you know what I hate more than cold food? The only thing I hate more than cold food? It's when a referee, whose job it is to regulate the game, is to make it fair so the players can express themselves. I hate it when a referee decides the fate of a game, ends up being the star and the talking point of a match. And let's be honest, these are two relatively evenly matched. Indonesia, probably a more talented team, didn't play so well throughout this tournament, but this game was decided on two pivotal decisions that both did not need to be made. Was there an elbow thrown? Sure. Was there some tussling in the box? Sure. Do you think anyone would have cared had he given a yellow to both players? Give a yellow, call it a day, tell them to calm down. The game doesn't need to be changed by a red card for an incident that, yes, happened, but it's in the box, away from the ball, on a corner kick. I don't understand why, as a referee, you need to make this decision. The same, Roy, with the penalty. Yeah, was there a hand somewhere potentially in there? Yes, maybe. It's hard for me to see on multiple angles. But again, didn't need to be given. Let the players play the game. See what happens then. I do not like these decisions, Roy. Change the game.
I think we're talking about two different things. You're talking about your philosophy and your view of soccer's rules. And I think that's different from what's going on today. Today, an elbow was thrown. But I want Indonesia to win this game. I want the game to flow. I want the ref to have as little involvement as possible. But it was the player's decision to throw the elbow. It was the player's intention to make contact with that elbow.
But
It's
not with
hard to
his
see
face,
what
not
kind
with
of
his
contact
face.
was made. What?
He didn't intend to make contact with the player's face. It just so happens that the face was low, so he ended up. I mean, it was just kind of a reactionary thing. It happens in the course of some tussling in the box, and the acting job was important as well.
Roy, did you
We see this
did you
all
agree
the
with the
time,
penalty?
Rocky. We see this all the time.
Yeah,
The
but
player is meant to act. This is a reality of the game.
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate
No.
reality of the game. But I don't think we could look at this and say the ref ruined Indonesia's chances. That is my point. I feel the Indonesian players on both of those occasions put themselves in a situation. They put themselves in the situation of inviting that conversation of, oh, is it a red? For me, the handball, I did not see the ball shift direction at all. I didn't see the spin of the ball change direction. I don't think there was a handball. For me, it's extremely, extremely unfortunate and very controversial that that was called. But the player slid with his arms like this, with his arms up in the air. That's not the way to slide tackle in the box.
Yeah.
So you're inviting the conversation. And that's my frustration. And listen, I love this team. I love the way this team fights. But there's little mistakes like that that invite these kind of situations.
Yeah. Okay. So look, and the Indonesia fans, that let us know in the comments whether you think those were fair. Was there controversy? Was the red card fair? Was the penalty fair? Whatever. And credit to the Philippines. Credit to Kristensen for putting the penalty away and their move on. So Philippines, congratulations. We'll talk more about you in the semis as we continue to cover that. Last note on Indonesia before we finish off on Indonesia. Overall, Rahi, what do they take away? What's the one takeaway for Indonesia's tournament? Should fans be upset? Should they be worried? Should they just wait till the Dutch contingent comes back and everything's good? What's the story?
Well, yes, this is a C, maybe D team. It's okay. Not a big thing. What I'd love to see is how Marcelino Ferdinand responds to this, because a single player couldn't have got more unlucky in this tournament. I mean, he has the red, he has the missed chance. I'm intrigued as to how he responds as an individual and if he comes back and grows from this, because it's a very tough tournament for him. And that's what it is. How do the Indonesian players who are going to go play for the senior team again, how do they take this disappointment? Do they learn from it? That's what I'm hoping to see. Not a big loss, Roy, for me this tournament. You move on, you move forward.
Yeah, okay. Roy, what do you got?
Yeah, for me, the lesson is a big one. And I'm glad this happened during this tournament and not a complete disappointment during World Cup qualifying, because this tournament is a second-rate tournament. You're using C and D team players. And there's one extremely, extremely important lesson taken from this tournament. And that lesson is this. Look at this team. This team is primarily made of players who have been developed within Indonesia, who have been developed in the Indonesian league, by the academy system, by everything. Indonesian Federation is doing a phenomenal job from a recruitment perspective. They're doing a phenomenal job from a dual national perspective.
It's not dual national. Remember, we're using, they said don't use that term. Naturalization, naturalization perspective.
Naturalization process.
Yeah,
They're doing a phenomenal job of finding those players to naturalize, to represent Indonesia. But still, from a development perspective, Indonesia isn't there yet. Indonesia is not anywhere near the conversation of a country like Japan and what they've achieved from a development perspective. So this is a reminder, a very, very important reminder. There's two focuses. There's a naturalization side and there's a development side. You want to strengthen the development side. This is the tournament where you start to see how's that development working. When you start seeing 17, 18, 19-year-old players representing Indonesia in this tournament and looking good and looking like they could make it in Europe, looking like they make in bigger leagues, looking like they could make the jump to the main national team, then you know they've strengthened it. But they got to take a serious look at that.
Yeah. Okay. So Indonesia fans, we're going to finish off on Indonesia. Now we will move forward to teams that are making the semis. I mean, Vietnam, guys, we've talked about this from the beginning. Vietnam is the favorite in this tournament. And Rahi, I think they proved that again today. I mean, you saw there was no question about this match whatsoever.
Yeah, they really opened it up. We've thought they were the favorites from the beginning. They've maybe slowed into this tournament, got the big victory against Indonesia. But in this game, they really opened it up against an opponent that isn't all that easy to play against. But Vietnam was the better team. They were relentless. And man, Rafaelsen, or how do you even say his name? Rafaelsen? I'm not sure. But man, the guy was on fire, created a lot for Vietnam. In the end, I think there was only ever one team that was going to win this game. But it's a warning to the rest of the tournament. The favorite has laid down the gauntlet, Roy. Vietnam is the favorite to win this tournament.
Yeah, to be honest, this performance surprised me. I like the way this team plays. I like their style. I like what they do. But if you look at recent results do not indicate that Vietnam was going to go into this game and win 5-0. They just don't. You look at their loss right before this tournament against Thailand, 2-1. You look at their tie against India. You look at their narrow, very narrow victory against Indonesia. You look at their tie against the Philippines. So nothing was indicating that they were going to come and blow out Myanmar, because Myanmar's been pretty good. But they did. And I think they showed what they're capable of. And I think if they continue to ride this, they've got to win this tournament. But it's not going to be easy, man. It's not going to be easy.
They have the roster advantage. Remember, one of the few teams that get basically their whole team released for this tournament.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about now who they're going to play, because it's got very interesting in the other group, the games that happened yesterday. Very interesting. So Singapore, a bunch of fans were supposed to go to the match in Malaysia, right? So that's a quick drive across the Rahi. You've spent time obviously in Singapore, a long time, many months there. And, there's a little causeway that you go across to get to the one stadium to the other, and there's traffic there. So the fans didn't arrive until the second half. They didn't miss much. It was 0-0. They didn't miss much, but at the end, the Lions, I believe they're called, of Singapore, they put on a dogged defensive performance, and they didn't allow Malaysia to get the goal that Malaysia needed. And Singapore is moving through. They get to hold one over their larger neighbors.
I mean, it's the result they needed on the road, even though it's very close. Still on the road, that road that's full of traffic. Look, Singapore hasn't really impressed in this tournament, but now they're into the semifinals. I think now is when it really starts, and we can see. I mean, this is what you were supposed to do. You made it. You did what a team like on the other side, Indonesia, wasn't able to do. You got the result. You got the draw that you needed. Now we see, Roy. For me, it's very clear that Thailand and Vietnam are a step above.
Yeah.
But Singapore gets there, and now the tournament starts. Anything's possible.
Yeah, and quickly, Thailand was just a little bit too much for Cambodia on this day. I know it wasn't Thailand's full first team that even this tournament, it wasn't their full first team of this tournament, but you just saw that Cambodia is valiant effort, but Thailand is just too strong, I think, in this,
Yeah, I mean, the score is, I think, flattering a little bit to Cambodia. Obviously, Koulibaly getting a late goal to make it look closer. Thailand were the better team, Roy, in this game.
All right, so Roy, who's winning? Is Vietnam and Thailand, are they getting it done in the semis based on these performances?
I think in the semis, two teams are teams that were expected to be here. They're expected to make the final. They're the strongest rosters in the tournament. Those two teams are Vietnam and Thailand. There are two other teams. One, I think, snuck it. Singapore, for me, snuck it. They snuck their way in there. The other, for me, is a dark horse. I think the Philippines is a dark horse. I like the way they played against Indonesia, even though they were up a man for most of the game. I like some of their players. I like Baldissimo, the MLS guy. It's an interesting team that is motivated, that is hyped up, that is passionate right now. And I think of the two lower teams in this semifinal, they have a chance of surprising a lot of people and making it to the final.
All right, so you're picking Philippines. I'm putting you on the spot.
To win the whole thing?
No, to get through the semis. Are you picking Philippines to get through?
They could be the shock. No, I mean, probability is that they don't. But if I were to guess, if there was one shock in the rest of the tournament,
I'm asking you, who's winning, Thailand or Philippines? Thailand or Philippines?
One shock, it's going to be Philippines making the final.
Okay.
That's my comment.
All right, Rahi, who you got?
I mean, this over two legs, I think the superior teams generally emerge. In this case, I'm pretty confident the final will be Vietnam against Thailand. Pho versus Pad Kimao.
Okay. We will see.
We will
see. We will see. Everyone who's been enjoying these videos, please subscribe to the channel. We will continue to cover the Asian Cup, Asian Championship. Unfortunately, our friends from Indonesia will not be partaking. But our friends from Thailand, our friends from Vietnam, our friends from Philippines, and Singapore, Rahi, your country where you spend a lot of time, will be there. We will be bringing you that coverage. So, for everyone out there, please keep watching the beautiful game, and please keep watching the Asian Championship, the Mortal Kombat Championship.
Semifinals, baby.